like a lot of things, I'd say if you want to be skilled at something, you practice it. And there may not be that many opportunities to compete during the year, depending on the length of the event people are doing. There may not be a huge amount. You know, I've worked with athletes who are maybe looking at 4 key events or 3 key events over the course of a season, which isn't very much. But what I would also say is it becomes quite viable that you can actually test your peaking strategies. And actually, again, I think what we're doing with all of this stuff is the stuff that we do in training should build, the stuff that we do in recovery should build. So we have knowledge from that as well as having just done the stuff. This is why I really advocate keeping a log which has sentences in it. You know, what did I do today and how did I feel? You know, and then sometimes you might see patterns arriving and you'll know what works. And also it allows you to take control a little bit of the other stuff that's happening in your world. So if you have the capacity to organize your lifestyle, you'll almost certainly want to organize that around capacity around coming into competition. So how much scope have you got to do that? You know, what does that diary look like in terms of you putting things in that aren't going to be very useful in those 10 days or so as you come into competition? And you may not have that luxury, but if you have, take advantage of it. What's the mindset that you want as you come into competition? You know, are you anxious? How do you make sense of anxiety and understanding that actually, you know, and this is a really important aspect of it, is, let's be blunt, most of us get anxious when we've got something important coming up that challenges us. But actually what we try and do is make sure that we understand that anxiety is a combination really of 3 components: how our bodies feel, how our minds are working, and how we think about what we've coming up, and the confidence that we have of achieving that. So when I get people who are really anxious about stuff, we try and strip it back to the processes of the things that they actually have to do. And of course, if your training has been smart, you'll have been very, very process orientated, and you will know, can I swim? Yes, I can. Can I get on a bike? Can I run? Yes, you can do all of those. And actually then the process is how you, so we bring that back into, why am I anxious? What are the challenges there? And what are the skills that I need to really match that challenge? So that's what anxiety is asking you to do. It's saying there's a threat in front of you. How are you going to cope with that threat? And what we really want when we get into that competition mindset is know that we've got the answers to that threat. I'm going to do this. Actually, if it gets messed up, here's my smagging list. So I'm going to do this and this and this. So I'm going to do everything in the absence of panic. And I'm going there on a mission to make this thing happen. So we almost go from anxiety to absolute clarity of what my role is and how I'm going to achieve that, which is very process orientated. And the reason for focusing on process is we've got quite a lot of control. It's probably where we got the most control when you think about it. We can control what we do. We might not be able to control environmental conditions. We might not be able to control someone's foot in our face, but we might know what we're going to do when that happens. And we might not be able to control whether we get a bike issue, but we might know the level of bike mechanics that we have to put the basic things right. So it's a set of processes that we know we can tick off. And if we think what we're trying to do there, we're trying to do everything in the absence of panic, because that's really is when you stop thinking. So just knowing that, and of course what we're doing is we're making each of those processes really simple. The other stuff that sits, I think, a lot with competition preparation is this ability to understand peaking and tapering. And again, this is where understanding that your training makes sense, your recovery makes sense, and your monitoring of that makes sense. So you actually know what states you want to be in for competition, and you might practice it. If you've only got a few major competitions in a year, you may practice that. Actually, can I peak? Can I taper? And then you make a note of it. So you know with as reasonable much certainty as you can that you can do the stuff that's going to allow you to get on that start line in the right physical, physiological, mental and emotional state. And a little bit of you will also say, if I'm not in that state, I'm still here to do it. And that's what I would call is having that on a mission mentality, which says absolutely states what that mission is and how you're going to do it. So it doesn't say I don't have to be anxious. It doesn't say I have to be in a good mood. It doesn't say I have to enjoy this. It says this is the job I'm here to do. Because of course, let's be honest, we know that in stuff that's hard, lots of little bits of it we don't enjoy. When we look back, we may find that we did enjoy it, but in the minute, there's lots of chunks where we don't. And what we want to do is take away all of the excuses that allows you to pull out or not do the stuff that you're there to do. And that's why I describe it as on a mission, because if we just think what a mission is, it's about, I'm going to do this thing and this is how I'm going to do it. It doesn't say I have to be in a good mood or a bad mood or anything else. And getting that mindset is a lovely way of doing it.
Yeah, I really like that. I guess people go to work and they don't really want to go to work every day and necessarily enjoy it every day, but they always have a clear task when they get there, what they need to do, so they get it done.
And generally speaking, they find out ways of making bits of that day enjoyable as well. It's rare that you have a day that's as bad as you fear it may be. Time always passes is one way I like to look at it.
Especially if you're doing an Ironman.
Yes. Yeah, but it's very true, isn't it? You just have to sometimes you just have to keep doing that stuff. And if we go back to what our training's about, have I got good form? Have I got good poise? Have I got good posture? You know, your efficiency is going to be as high as possible. And am I putting the energy into that? You know, so